'Cause this world can get cold and lonely when there's no one to turn to.
Hey guys, this is Sean McGarry coming to you live with Mr. Jimmy Griffin.
Did you forget for a second?
I forgot for a second. I was hoping you would say something. Man, this is a special one today. We are in Cincinnati, Ohio. I tried to do it on your home turf in St. Louis, but it worked out for the better. You coming down here. Man, this is, I got to say, first of all, I love you, brother.
I love you
good
too,
to see you,
man.
You know, we're going to get into a lot here today, but for those of you that don't know Mr. Jimmy Griffin and our story, we're talking about it, man. But I've been doing this channel here for about a year in these Rhythm of Life, and this might be the most important one to me because Jimmy and I go back to the third grade. You know, we started playing music together, and you're one of my longest and dearest friends. So
Yes.
this is a big one for me, man. This is an honor to have you here, and it means a lot.
I always tell the story that, you know, we had Keith Bowers as our first guitar instructor, and he taught us both. The first week of guitar lessons, we learned Heart of Gold by Neil Young.
Absolutely.
And we were so fresh to guitar that we would change the chord. Like, I would play the E minor.
Oh, yeah.
You would play the G, and then I would switch to the D,
Yeah.
and we would go back and forth so that we could make that's how long we've been playing with
That's
the
how long
guitar.
we've been playing, yeah. And I can't remember exactly, but I mean, of course, we were into Kiss. That's kind of what got started. You know, we would dress up and do the concerts in your front yard and in your basement. And man, did we get guitars like the same day, the same week?
It was pretty close, yeah. Because like I said, my first guitar lesson was Heart of Gold. It was yours too.
Yeah.
So I think, you had the red, what was that?
Hondo too.
Yeah.
You had the black Gibson Sonics. Was that your?
No, the first one was an Encore.
Oh,
It was a copy of a Gibson L6S, which is the most uncool guitar in the whole world, and it was wood grain. It was
That's right. But at the time, it was the coolest thing ever.
Right. Yeah.
Man, so we went to St. Veronica together. You know, we spent so much time together. Like we were in the trenches together, learning about music and
Getting beaten at Catholic school.
Just getting beaten, swatted. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. So ironically, we wanted to go back and revisit St. Veronica, the Catholic school we went to, and they gave us the old, no, you guys can't come in for whatever reason.
We're looking for the ghost of Mr. D.
Mr. D, yeah.
I was there today. I went there today.
Yeah.
I went to my house as well. And the house I grew up in was 666 Holiday Drive.
Yeah.
They changed the address to 664.
Wow. What quitters, man.
It's like, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, you moved, what year did you move to, you went to junior year or sophomore year to St. Louis?
I was in Glen Estee until the end of the first quarter of sophomore year, and then we moved to Rochester, New York.
Yeah, and that's when shit started happening for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rochester was good because it taught me. I met the same people there that I had here. They had different faces.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody was into the same stuff that my friends were into, we only lived there for about, I guess about 9 months, and I started my junior year in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
So,
and I remember, if I remember this correctly, weren't you playing like professionally your senior year? Like.
Yeah. That's why the only reason I didn't move back to Cincinnati was. That was the goal, was I'm going to finish high school. That was one rule my parents had. You have to graduate high school. So I graduated high school, and I was going to move back here. Okay. And that was the plan. And I guess it was the middle of my senior year. I took lessons from a guy named Duke Mishlak, and Duke taught everybody. Duke taught Rich Fortis, Mike McLaughlin, like all these big, Jerry Jost, all these big. Anybody that's good in St. Louis went to Duke.
Gotcha.
And I had lessons after a guy named Dan Drab, who wound up being in a band called New World Spirits that was out of St. Louis. But he was moving to go to GIT, and I knew he had like cool long hair, and I thought he was, and I knew he played in bars. And so as soon as his lesson was over, I would immediately like just sit in the chair and play all my rock star licks, like as fast as I could. And so when he quit his band, the guys in his band were like, well, what are we supposed to do? Who are we going to get? And he was like, you should hear this kid who has guitar lessons after me at Duke's.
Oh, okay.
And they came out to a teen club that used to be in St. Louis called the Animal House and watched my high school band play. And they wanted me to do their gig. And they played 5 nights a week.
What was the name of the band?
Intriguer.
Intriguer, okay.
Yeah. And the one stipulation my mom and dad had was that I was able to leave as soon as the gig was over.
Yeah.
So, and I was still getting home at 1:30 in the morning
right.
waking up and going to high school.
Yeah.
But they allowed me to do that, and I was making $250 a week playing 5 gigs. Yeah, in the high school.
That's pretty awesome.
And but yeah, $50 a night. You show up at 5 or 6 and set up a whole PA and a light rig and everything every day. And we played all these places like out in the sticks. But I was doing what I waned to do.
Training ground, man, for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
So how soon after that did you get with Broken Toyz, which went on to be King of the Hill?
Right. That was, there was Intriguer, and then I was in one other band called Little John, which was kind of some slightly more, I was working my way up the ladder. They had better gigs and they played better places. And then when that band imploded, Vito had been kind of stalking me, the drummer.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to join their band, who played in the basement. And they did like 2 gigs a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm not gonna not make money and be in your basement band, So he actually wound up joining Little John, the second band I was in, and just to get me on his side. Like, he's like, I'll play covers with you.
Oh, wow.
And so he did that, and I loved playing with Vito. He was always a great drummer to play with, and he was campaigning actively for me to join this band, Frankie.
Yeah.
And that's when we became Broken Toyz.
Yeah.
And we were a cover band that had originals.
Right.
Basically, I was like, well, let's just play. We can play whatever we want. And that band was so weird, and it was great because it was totally different than everything else. We were playing stuff off the first Red Hot Chili Peppers record. We played songs by Queen. We played, Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
We would lift verses from, Ice-T.
You guys were a party band.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like, from what I remember, man, you guys had like a big scene, right?
Yes.
Like a big draw, big scene.
Yeah.
And was that what led to get you guys getting signed? How did that go down?
Yeah.
And by the way, let me interject here, man. I mean, you guys got signed to a big label, man, Madonna's label, SBK.
Yeah.
And, you were also, you got to live the dream, but also you got to experience the nightmare of the record industry, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick. How did you, have a drink, man. It's a little warm in this joint here. And thanks to my buddy Tim for letting us use this place.
Heck yeah.
This place was
great.
awesome. So how did you guys end up getting a deal with that label?
We spent a lot of money that wasn't ours.
Love it.
We had a manager, and he owned a couple of places in St. Louis, and the woman that booked his rooms liked our band.
Okay.
So she went to him and said, you should check out these guys. He liked us, and there was a contract. And
Was this like a management deal you had with this lady? Okay.
Yeah. So it was her, it was the two of them. It was Sean Jacobs was the guy's name, and Lynn Chartreux was the woman. And we just needed the money,
Yeah.
and we bought a bunch of stuff. We made the first video we made, I think, was almost $30,000.
Wow.
And this is 1988 money.
That's a lot.
For
for
89 money.
Yeah.
And we were kids and didn't think anything of like just taking somebody else's dough.
Right.
And it was all under the the idea was that if we got a record deal, we would have to pay them back.
Yeah.
Which we were like, well, if we get a record deal, we're going to be millionaires anyway, of course.
The naive.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So we wound up getting into him by the end of it for about $80,000.
Okay.
And we had these 2 music videos that we did. We had this big local following. We sent some stuff off to a bunch of labels. And SBK was into it, and they came and saw us, loved the show, and flew us to New York, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so we've got this management team. We're in New York, having a great time. We're at the Limelight and all this stuff. And then they signed us. And shortly thereafter, we started making the record. And during the making of the record, it was produced by a guy named Howard Benson, who's done a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Howard was like, you guys can't stick with this St. Louis management. Like, these people don't know anything, and they're small potatoes, and you guys need a big manager. So we come home from making the record, and we tell our managers, we're going to get some, and we were being courted by Alive Management, which is like Alice Cooper and Luther Vandross and Teddy Pendergrass, a big management firm. And so we came home and said, we don't want you guys to manage us anymore. And then we started getting legal papers and big stacks of getting sued. And we were, I think our recording it, or our advance, our personal advance was $40,000, and our publishing advance was $50,000. We owed them $90,000, and we basically handed over all the money the record company gave us to get out of this management deal.
But in hindsight, that was probably the best thing to do, right?
Maybe.
Man,
I don't know. But yeah, and then he wound up getting our merchandising advance, which was another $90,000.
Yeah.
That we get all the money that the band had, we had to give away.
Who came up with King of the Hill?
We had a list, because by that time we were signed, because we were Broken Toyz when they signed us. And there was everybody that worked there had a list. There was, what are we going to call this thing? And that's I.
And this is before. I don't know how many years before the King of the Hill TV show.
Right. It was before that,
and it would have never been that name had.
No. And that was there was. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There was Mother Popcorn was one that I liked because it was a James Brown song.
I suggested that for a band name many times, and I always got shot.
Yeah, Mother Popcorn. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that were close in the running. But yeah, it just wound up, we were like, by the end of it, we're like, I don't even care what this is called,
But yeah, man, you guys got to live, I saw you on tour when you came through Cincinnati. You lived the dream, man. I mean, you got to tour with a lot of the big bands at the time. Like, was it Z-Rock back then? You did, I remember hearing you guys live on the Z-Rock National Station one night.
Yeah, that was in
Texas.
Dallas. Yeah, we did that. All that stuff, dude. Like making videos, making records. That was a huge eye-opening experience of like, hey, my gear doesn't sound as good as I thought it did.
Right.
And like this works in a bar, and when there's 300 people running around or 500 people. But yeah, we did videos. The first tour we did was with Lynch Mob.
Yeah.
So I was opening for George Lynch, who I like grew up loving, and there's nothing worse, man. We had the Guitar Hero tour. It was George. We started with Lynch Mob, and then we did some time with Steelheart, which was a pain in the neck. And then it was White Lion, so the Vito Bratta guy.
Yeah, man.
And then we went to Europe with Extreme, and I had to go out in front of Nuno Betancourt every night.
That's rough.
Oh, dude, you have not the first.
Let me just say though, you hold your own, dude. You're one of my guitar heroes, so let's not.
But no, dude. Like when you're talking about Nuno Betancourt and George, like those guys are like they're the Jesse Owens of that stuff,
Yeah. And you probably learned a lot watching those cats.
I learned, what I learned is what I was good at. That was the main, was,
Well, that's huge, man,
was
right?
like, I can't do, like, I thought I was doing that.
Right.
And then you get it next to somebody that is doing it, and you go, oh, I do this other thing good,
Right.
you know? And the one of the cool things with the George Lynch stuff was, by the middle of the tour, he had a wah-wah pedal, which was kind of my
Right.
thing. And he was like, I've never used one of those.
Yeah.
And by the middle of the tour, he had a
He's
wah
catching
pedal.
some
You know,
stuff
so
from you.
there was stuff that I was able to focus on what I did good.
Right.
But dude, when you walk out and the first like 4 rows are just guys looking at you like, yeah, it's
I remember you telling me that. So that's
yeah.
got to be a little bit intimidating, man. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But, you know, like I said, you hold your own, dude. You're a great guitar player, a great songwriter. You know, and every time I saw you guys were a great band. And I love that record. It was kind of like, you know, you fell into that trap of, you know, you had sort of the hair metal stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of the funky hard rock stuff. You know, he definitely had that Chili Peppers influence, I thought. And I don't know, I just, you know, the scene changed, right? The industry changed.
Yes. It was, I told this story today, and I will never forget this moment. We had just come off that Extreme tour. Everything was like, boom, this is great. And we were flying back. We'd been in Europe for a month and a half. And we're flying back to, we were in London waiting to go to the airport. We had MTV on, the whole band, the crew, everybody's in the room because we're getting ready to leave. And Smells Like Teen Spirit came on the MTV. And nobody said a fucking word the whole time it was on. We're just looking at it. And when it was over, I said, man, this is listening to some cool shit over here. And somebody goes, dude, that's the number 3 song in America right now.
Wow.
And I knew right that I was like, oh, this is going to be bad for business. And it most certainly was.
Writing on the wall, yeah.
And it was, for us, it was okay because we had just got there and we had just had the best time of our whole lives for like a year and a half.
You guys were young men, man.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
dude, I was watching George Lynch go, what the hell is going on? Like, I was in an arena last year and now I'm playing in a club.
Yeah.
You know, and they were pissed.
Yeah.
And we were playing these great, you know, 1,000 seat, 2,000 seat clubs, but they had gotten used to being rock stars.
Sure, yeah.
And we were just having a good time doing
Yeah.
it, you know. So
But you
it
got
was-
to live that life, man. And you got
Oh
to
yeah, I would I would rather have what we had than not have that.
Of course,
you
yeah.
know. Or yeah, it was totally worth doing, and I
Right.
would have done it again.
And I know you guys every now and then have done some reunion shows.
Yeah, yeah,
is
we
cool.
still everybody's
You got the
still
fan base.
Yeah, I mean Frank and George and I all still play all the time.
Yeah.
Veed got more into being a family guy, but he still plays, and
Yeah.
he can still swing with the best of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, and you've had like just amazing success because, like, well, I want to talk about the Incurables, which is your original band.
Right.
I know there was a band before that. Was it something Venus? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, Full On
Full
Venus.
Venus. I think we opened up for you guys in one of my bands, and we got to open up for you several times in a
Yeah.
couple of bands. When I was in Vibe Tribe, we opened up for you guys, and in Freak Bass, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we opened up for the Incurables, right? I think
Yeah.
that was with Jimmy King.
Yeah.
This thing. So, but man, how would you describe that music? Because I know how I would describe it, but how would you describe the Incurables?
Oh, I just call it American rock and roll.
Yeah, American
you
rock
know,
and roll.
It's I learned how to write songs later in life. Like I always wrote songs, but I never felt like I got better at it until it was just me.
Yeah.
Until I had to, because I always had somebody else.
Yeah.
And I never sang. I wasn't a singer. I sang, but I wasn't the
Wasn't
guy.
your thing, yeah.
And it got to a point where I was playing with dudes where I was like, man, I could just do this.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I sat in a basement with a Roland 1824 hard disk recorder, and I learned how to write songs and melodies and sing them. You know, like how I would do it, because I never had to do that before. I had the guitar thing, that was easy, but I didn't know how I wanted what I wanted my voice to be, and I had to figure that out. And I was 30 something, by the time I got there. So,
do you like the fact that you kind of went from a guitar god to more of a singer-songwriter?
I do, because, and I still like, dude. You ever heard Chuck Prophet?
I don't know.
You should. He's one of those guys that not only does he write an amazing song, but then he'll sting you, and it's not any of this stuff,
right?
But just was used to be a Squire Telly into a Princeton, and just melt your heart, like with guitar. Sure. And that's what I got more into with guitar. Was you've got 15 seconds, and like say something and make it sound right, like there's I think that's like I see people on YouTube that can play the end of Bark at the Moon, but Jakey Lee already did that,
right?
Like here's 20 seconds,
right,
in the middle of a song that has elicited a feeling, and now instead of with your mouth, do that with your hands, and that's I think what makes a really great guitar player is somebody
play for the song, and not for yourself, which a lot of us were guilty of, and that whole we grew up in the era of Eddie Van Halen and Yngwie Malmsteen, all those cats, man, and it was like it's intimidating. It was a cool time to be a guitar player, but I'm not remotely. I mean, I still love that stuff for nostalgic reasons, but I'm like you, man. I kind of got more to the songwriting, the parts. It's all about the parts and coming together. If somebody asked me to describe your music, I thought about this earlier, and I don't even know how you feel about this, but it's like if Tom Petty and the Beatles had a baby, here's the baby.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's very hooky. It's very melodic. It's got some, well, we'll play some here in a bit, but and we'll leave a link to your album. Do you have a new album coming out?
It's gonna be probably after the first of the year. But I'll go back in. I'm about halfway through with it now. A bunch of new songs. Like
loving what I've heard, man. I love it.
Yeah.
You sent me some tracks.
When I had my first kid at 48, and I thought, I'll just keep moving along like I've been, and I had no idea that it was going to completely change. Like I didn't write a song for like 5 years. I didn't have the time. I didn't have all my energy was kind of focused in that direction.
Or Rocket Griffin.
Yes,
dude. Okay, totally off subject, but on subject. You just told us a story. I knew about it, but we got to share this with the people watching. Rocket's going to have one of the greatest stories of all time, without a doubt.
Right.
The Who.
Oh, the Who thing.
Please tell that story.
Oh yeah. Well,
I could hear this every day for the rest of my life.
So. I work at a shop called Killer Vintage in St. Louis, and it's great.
Kind of like Carter Vintage. And
there you go.
It's your version of that. So.
Yeah, and my boss and those guys are all friends.
Sure.
And he's been doing that since the 70s, and because that's the way they could get into shows. They'd show up with a guitar and go, "We want to show this to Eric Clapton or whoever, Joe Walsh or whatever." So anyway, we were gonna Simon Townsend, Pete's brother.
Yep. I saw him on that tour.
Wanted to see. We had this 65 SG special that was amazing, and he wanted us to bring it down to the Savas, which is our like Riverfront Coliseum kind of thing. And so we go down there and we go underneath the thing, and first thing we had to do. This was, I want to say it was 21, maybe 22, and we had to get a COVID test. Via the Who. The Who people had to give. I got a COVID test from the Who, and then I had to take Rocket with me because I was like, I can't. I was at home with my son.
And it's your mom, right?
Yeah, and they were like, whatever, just bring him. So we get down. He was like, Dad, I don't want to go. I don't want to see this. And I'm like, honey, there might be a point when you get old where you might be one of the last people in the world that can say they saw the Who live.
Absolutely.
And you're going to want this memory of being able to do it. So we went down there, we got our COVID Who test, and we I chased him around the seats while the Who was practicing, and I thought for sure, I was like, there's no way Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are at soundcheck, and they were, and they were playing "You Better You Bet," and I'm chasing them all. I'll show you the film. I'll show you the film of it, but chasing them all around this empty arena, and then I just pan over, and there's the Who, and yeah, it was great. It was awesome. And then after that,
That's not even the coolest part. Well, that was cool, but then it gets cooler.
what's that?
Well, then I assume you're
The Mike
telling.
Campbell
Yeah.
part? Yeah. So Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs were opening.
That's crazy.
And the guy that was with me from the shop was like, is that Mike Campbell over there? And I had no idea they were on the bill. I just thought it was a Who. And I was like, what the hell is Mike Campbell doing here? And
by the way, he's one of your, I assume, one of your guitar idols,
yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
And so Rocket said, I want to talk to him. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I want to be brave. And I want to say things to him because he played with Tom Petty. And I was like, okay. And he was standing in the hallway, and we're walking past him, and Rocket walked right in between two people, and he said, you're in my book of rock. And Mike Campbell just immediately went down to it, like, hey man, how you doing? And they're doing that, and I took a couple of pictures with him, and he called it the rock lock, where you go like this, and then the other person goes like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you got to meet Mike Campbell and see the Who do a sound check. It was great.
That's pretty amazing,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, most kids, say they, went to Kings Island or something, which is cool, but what you guys are in here.
Well, dude,
in
he
town-
still doesn't.
I know.
It's funny because every once in a while he'll go, my dad's famous. And it's like, no, Dad, don't. Because we'll be in the car, especially back home in St. Louis, some of the bands I play with I have radio ads.
Right.
And he'll be like, Dad, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And now that he's starting to hear more of that, or we go out and someone will approach me and they'll say, hey, Rocket, how's it going? And he's like, how do they know me? And I'm like, well, because they've seen me post stuff with you.
Right.
And but so he's enjoying it a little more. We get to go backstage to things and do stuff. And so yeah, he's starting to get an idea that I'm cool.
Yeah.
Or kind of cool.
Kind of cool. Well, let's make no bones about it. I mean, you're kind of like the ambassador of the St. Louis music scene.
I would say I'm the local weather-man of the St. Louis music scene.
Yeah.
You see him and you go, hey, is that guy? Awesome. And then you keep walking. But, you ever see the weatherman at the grocery store?
Yeah,
You're like, dude, that guy's in the news. But you're not going to go to his house and camp out in front of him.
Well, man, I mean, come on. You've been around a while and you've done a lot of cool things and you're a phenomenal musician. And that's a good segue because, let's talk about your tribute bands. Celebration Day, which is Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Right.
And El Monstero. So as far as I know, you guys like the OGs. Now the tribute bands is all over the place, which is cool. And it's kind of a new phenomenon. But you've been doing this for a long time, right?
El Monstero started in 1999.
Yeah.
I was not an original member. I came in later.
Right.
But it's been going for 26 years or something.
And for people who don't know, it's a huge production, man.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us a little bit about what the production goes. I mean, you guys have had the symphony, helicopters.
Yeah.
And you play the equivalent, I know, in your town, the equivalent to the Riverbend here in Cincinnati, the local
we
shed.
We just did 11,000 people last 2 weekends ago.
So for a tribute band, that's
it's
really cool.
Yeah, we do a place called the Pageant. We have a Christmas run, and there's so many flukes about that. It just started with it was a band called Stir. And they were in between records and needed to make some money. So they put together this cover band, and they were called El Monstero y los Masked Avengers. And they used to wear Lone Ranger masks.
Okay.
And they would play in bars, and the last bit of their set would be the back half of Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, man, everybody really likes it when we play those songs. And so they got a couple extra people, the girls, got a saxophone guy, and they did one show at Mississippi Nights, which was that would be our Bogarts.
I've been there, yeah.
And they sold it out, and then it went from there to the Pageant, which is a 2,000 seat venue, and it's been there for since we do 7 nights there during Christmas. And then, but the band only plays twice a year.
Yeah.
We did a 7-night run there, and then we play our amphitheater shed.
And it's not slowing down, is it?
No. And now it's become so multi-generational. Like, there are literally people there with their grandkids that came when they were 20.
Right.
You know, and then they like got married and had kids, and then their kids had kids.
Right.
Like, so there's literally 3 generations sometimes at these gigs.
That's got to be pretty amazing to see, man.
It's beautiful.
And you're getting to play David Gilmour, which
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do a beautiful job of. And didn't you tell me like a couple years ago you had like a helicopter? You rented a helicopter?
Yeah, it's so funny that everybody's like, "Oh man, the helicopter!" It's the cheapest thing we do. It costs like $800 to have a guy
Well, then I'm
fly
gonna
over the thing. Right? We blow off $20,000 worth of pyro during the show, but the helicopter is the thing everybody talks about.
And you get like the symphony orchestra and stuff to play.
We've played with the symphony, and then there's Celebration Day is also, that started in 2006. So these are long running, things that we've been doing for a long time.
And that's so good, man. I mean, and nobody plays Jimmy Page like, I mean, you got it down, brother. And I've asked you about that before, like playing those licks. I think, and I actually use you as an example in when I teach Zeppelin songs to my students. I'm like, well, man, one of my buddies, Jimmy Griffin, he plays in this tribute band. He's awesome. And then, but I think I asked you about like, remember all the songs? You're like, yeah, he's got 5 licks. If you know these 5 licks, you can pretty much play it all.
Do. He does that. Like, there's 27 of the solos where he plays that same.
Right.
You know,
but that's still pretty complex stuff.
Yeah. You have to, like, when you're learning those solos, that's the other part about it that's so hard. Is it'll be like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can make it to the 29th second and clam on that last one, and you might just erase everything you just did.
Right.
You know?
Well, that goes without saying for anything I think you play, right?
Yeah.
Man, I would love for you to play a song for us, maybe.
Sure.
And I would love to maybe play one of your tunes.
I could do that. Yeah.
All right. So let's do that, man. Let's play some music.
Woo.
So, man, this is like legitimately one of my favorite songs by you, but like just in general, this song is so awesome. And I can't help but to think back. It does remind me, man. It takes me back to being at your house and like me spending the night as kids and staying up late and listening to the radio, WEBN.
Yeah.
And it was such a magical time that I don't know that people will ever get to experience that time again. And this, I close my eyes and this song, it takes me right back. The first time I heard it, I'm like, man, I know where you're coming from with this song.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so I mean, when did you write this song?
This was actually written as a love letter to, we had a wonderful station in St. Louis called KDHX. Mm-hmm. And it was a community-run station, and you would hear, reggae for 2 hours, and then there would be a punk rock thing for 2 hours, and then there would be old blues, and, just every possible genre of music. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't like it, you can come back in 2 hours and you'd love it, whatever it was. But that's when I say somewhere around 88, that was there was 88.1.
Right.
And so I thought if I wrote this song and put their name in it, they would play the record. And they did, so it was
there you
great.
go.
Yeah.
Well, so it's called FM, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Down the road, just a ways, the nightlight radio crackles and fades to the sound of the last of the all-night DJs. No satellite, catch the waves. The graveyard college show spins away on the dial. Somewhere around 88. Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio? Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio tonight? The hit parade,
stations from outer space took the hearts, left town with a cash-filled briefcase. Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio? Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio? My radio tonight. Go, baby. Wolfman Jack howls from his grave, a heavenly million-watt serenade to the silver antenna faithful, lost on American highways. To the silver antenna faithful, flying down American highways. Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio? Is there anyone alive on the other side of my radio? My radio tonight, tonight. My radio tonight, tonight, tonight. My radio tonight.
That was awesome, man. That was a thrill for me, brother. That was fun. It's the first time we played together in a while.
I know.
Yeah, fam. All right.
Aw.
Yeah. It was awesome. So, now of course you're gonna have to play something. Well, maybe off your new record.
I could do that.
Whatever you want, man. Whatever you're feeling.
Yeah. This is a song called Nothing But Time.
Daddy was a door-to-door salesman whose career was in a tailspin. He took a job as a knight at the Renaissance Fair. No one could impale him. Mommy was a fighter, a menace with a lighter. All she wanted was a ride on the big red truck, but no one would invite her. And we all shine on, and we all got by, and the world stood still. There was no such thing as running out of time. Just because you're not sure where you're going, the wind is always blowing. Yeah, you can paint the road to ruin and gold, and every day be glowing. And we all shine on, and we all got by, and the world stood still, and we would never die. But we all grew up, and some waved goodbye, and we all think back to the time when we had nothing else but time. Nothing but time. 'Cause if you wanna make it through this life, better hang on real tight. 'Cause there's no telling how far you fall if you let go. So find yourself the real things that matter, and don't lose faith if something gets shattered. And I'll meet you somewhere, someday down the road. Just keep your soul, and we'll all shine on, and we'll all get by, and the world stood still, and we will never die, and we all grew up in some weird goodbye, and we all think back to the times when we had nothing else but time, nothing but time, nothing but time.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. That was a great song. It was
Thank
a thrill
you.
to play FM with you. It's pretty trippy, man. I mean, you know, it's like coming full circle, you know.
Yeah.
We met 8, 9 years old, and we're pushing 30 now. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's been quite a few years, and it's a blessing to have you in my life, man. I mean, it's a lot of people don't keep up with their friends, and, you know, we have a tight circle, and I think it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here in town right
Well,
now.
you have to nurture those things, and you have to give it enough space. I mean, we don't live in the same city. I'm not able to hang out as much as I'd like, but
Sure.
you know, keeping in touch is the best, and nurturing friendships like that, especially after this much time. It just, you know.
And making the effort. you
Yeah,
know. It does take an effort. It's like any kind of relationship. But man, I'm truly blessed to have you in my life, and I don't know that I would be where I am at in my life had, you know, our paths not crossed, because you were my biggest inspiration for music, you know. And I don't know if I ever told you this. I think I have hinted, man, but you have been like one of my heroes since early on. I mean, I know it might sound kind of cheesy to some, but like, you were always that much better, that much cooler, and you know, I secretly was trying to be as Jimmy Griffin, man. I mean, you were like always the king of cool, and you know, you still carried on a legend, and you know, and you've influenced me a lot in my personal life, my playing, musically. So yeah, you were one of the first guests I want to get on this Rhythm of Life for sure. So I'm glad this has finally happened.
That's great.
Yeah, man. So this has been a blast. So now that I've got that off my chest here, but I'm very sincere when I say all that stuff, brother.
Yeah.
Incurables, you guys got a website?
No. You can find me. I'm Jimmy in Stereo on Instagram. I think the Incurables have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Or you can, you know, I'm YouTubeable.
Yeah, I'll put a link to all his stuff. But man, please check out his stuff. And obviously, if you can catch a show in St. Louis, do it. My man,
Dude.
I think a hug's in order. Love you, brother. Thanks for doing this, man.
Start making out with you.
Well, oh Jesus, here we go. I think it moved. I think it moved. I'm just saying. I think it moved. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you guys from Cincinnati, Ohio. I got to dial him back in here, man. I think I think the heat's getting to him here. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks.
World War II during that jam. It was almost